Hello, everyone, and welcome to our math class with teacher Jaika. So, as I can see here, all of you are present. Am I correct? All right, very good. And of course, I wanted to know how my students are feeling today. If my students are feeling happy, excited, silly, cool, sleepy, bored, annoyed, worried, angry, scared. If you are feeling all those emojis I have splashed on the screen, you can draw on it. And of course, you have to visit the class point using the class code on the upper right corner of the screen. That's 10920. Okay, as I can see in the responses here, some are happy. Are you happy that we have class today? Some are feeling sleepy. Why is that so? Some are scared. Why? Because it's math class? Well, some are worried. Is it because you're afraid that you will get low scores today? Of course, teacher Joyka will make sure that you will not feel all those bad feelings. Instead, you will feel happy, you will feel excited, and at the same time, you will enjoy the whole class. Okay? Is that exciting? Yes, very good. So, let's are you now ready for our discussion this afternoon? Okay, now I can feel the excitement in each of you. Okay, so this afternoon we will be discussing about combination and permutation. Teacher, why two? Why are we going to discuss them all together? Because we have discussed the past few weeks or the past lessons combination and permutation individually, right? As you can remember. Very good. So this afternoon we will be differentiating them. We will be comparing them so that we will know how different they are. Okay, very good. Right. But I want you to know first, I wanted to show to you our learning objectives for this afternoon. At the end of the lesson, each of you should be able to differentiate permutation and combination of objects. Next, solve problems involving permutation and combination using its designated formula. Of course, we have discussed all these things. And I'm sure you are familiar with this one. Am I correct? Am I correct, students? Yes, very good. And lastly, you will be able to apply the lesson in real life situation. Why? Of course, we are discussing all these things, all the lessons, so that the learnings you have gained in the classroom will not remain in the classroom, but instead you will be able to apply that in your day-to-day activities, in your home, in the community, or everywhere. Okay, very good. So I want you to answer this activity because this will serve as a recapitulation of our discussions, right? So I want you to study the following situations, then answer the questions that follow on your notebook. Okay, you have to do this individually in 10 minutes. Of course, this is not any more difficult because we have discussed this one. All right, 10 minutes up, pens up, pens up, everybody. All right, very good. Put your pens down. But before we're going to check your answers, I want you to ponder on these questions. Okay, first, in the items above, identify which situations illustrate permutation and which illustrate combination. Yes, Tara. All right. Yes, ranking people illustrates permutation. Why? Because you will rank people from first, second, or third, or the person who will get gold, silver, and bronze, right? So it means there's an order. There's a sequence that's permutation. Very good. What about combination? Yes. Yes, Liza. Very good. Example of combination is handshaking because the the situation there it talks about handshaking other, which should mean that you are not going to handshake in order in a sequential order. Instead, you will handshake people randomly. That's why it's an example of combination. Very good. So, next letter B, how did you differentiate the situations that involve permutation from those that involve combination? Yes, Ella. Very good. When you say permutation and combination, it they differ from the words they denote. Like for permutation, it talks about arranging things in order, and for combination, it talks about selection. Very good. So as I can see, my students were really listening in our previous discussion because you have answered so well, and you can explain that to me why you have chose that answer. Very good. On the next slide, we will be comparing, or we will have a comparison chart between permutation and combination so that each of us, including me, of course, will be able to understand and will be able to differentiate them. Yes, with an example, with the definitions, of course, so that we will be able to see them clearly. Let's start with the definition of permutation and combination. For permutation, it refers to the different ways of arranging set of objects in sequential order. As you can see, on the last words of the definition of permutation, it talks about sequential order, which would mean that permutation talks about ordering, sequencing a certain object or an arrangement. There's an arrangement. There's a proper arrangement. Let's say, for example, books. You are going to arrange the books in different subjects. Mathematics books, um, science books, English books. So it means there's a pattern, there's a sequence, there's a proper arrangement for the books. When I say combination, it refers to the several ways of choosing items from a large set of objects, such that their order does not matter. So this time combination, the order does not matter anymore, and you are choosing an item from a larger set, which would mean that you are getting a sample from a larger group. Okay, you are taking a sample from a larger group. Let's say, for example, list of books like mathematics, science, English, Filipino, so on and so forth, and then you will just get mathematics books. See, you are just taking a sample from a larger set. You're just taking the mathematics books out of the books you have. Okay, next. Permutation denotes arrangement, sequence, line up, and schedule. From the word schedule, you are scheduling. There's a pattern. There's an arrangement of time, arrangement of activities. That's why it is an example of permutation. When you say combination, selection, group, sample, you are simply selecting something. You are simply choosing something. You are simply getting or picking something out of that group. That's combination. Okay? Next. Let's say, for example, a question of a permutation. How many different arrangements can be created from a given set of objects? From the word different arrangements from a set of objects. Okay? As you can see, arrangement, and there's a set of objects. There's a specific of objects you are going to arrange. You will not just arrange anything, but there's an object specifically you are going to arrange. Next, for a combination, how many different groups can be chosen from a larger group of objects? So from the word different groups, from a chosen larger group, it means how are you going to create, how many groups are there will be from a given larger group. Let's say, for example, a group of athletes. How many groups are you going to create for the certain sports? Let's say, for example, um basketball, volleyball, soccer. So it means there are many samples out of the bigger group, right? Okay, let's have the formula here. We have the formula for the permutation where n is the sample size or the size of the set and r is the size of permutation. While for the combination here, still n is the size, in R is still the items selected from the set, number of items selected from the set. So I hope that you are also reviewing your notebooks or your notes so that you will be able to remember all those things, and you will be able to use them specifically in a certain um, problem, right? So as the saying goes, practice makes perfect, which would mean that you have to keep on practicing so that you will be able to remember, you will be able to master the lesson, and you will be able to apply them, and you will not be having a hard time in answering the questions or completing the test. Am I understood? Very good. All right, understanding permutation and combination. Suppose we have four objects A, B, C, and D, and we are required to choose three from them and then arrange them on a shelf. This can be done in the following ways. So this is how you arrange the things or the letters. Thus, there are four ways of choosing three objects from four, and there are six ways of arranging the chosen objects. The process of selecting things is called combination, from the word selection, that's combination, and of the process of arranging things is called permutation. Okay, so from this one, this is arranging. So this is permutation. When you say combination, selecting objects, this one is, what is this? This is the combination. You are simply selecting objects. As you can see here, in combination, there's no repeating. There's no repeating letters. ABC, ABD, ACD, and BCD. While for permutation, there are repeating letters, right? ABC, then ACB. See, the words are just the same. I mean, the letters BCA, BAC, CAB, CBA. It's still ABC, right? Okay, next. What is the difference between permutation and combination using the words or real life examples? Arranging people, digits, numbers, alphabets, letters, and colors. Let's say, for example, you arrange people according to their ranks, according to their position in life, according to their height. Let's say, for example, so you are going to start from the tallest to the smallest or the shortest, right? So that's arrangement, that's permutation. When I say combination, you are simply selecting menu, food, subjects team. Let's say, for example, you're just simply selecting the subjects you like. Some subjects you hated. So that's combination. Next, for permutation is picking a team captain, pitcher, shortstop from a group. As you can see here, you are picking people from a certain group specifically. You are not just picking them just because you wanted to pick them, just like the combination. But for permutation, you're going to pick them because they are the best. They are good at playing, because they can lead, because they know how to command, they know how to follow. That's why you pick them. There are criteria. There is a reason why you pick them. That's permutation. When you say combination, you are simply picking them. You are simply selecting the member you wanted to be in a group. Okay, can you see the difference? Next, picking two favorite colors in order from a color brochure. Favorite color. From the word favorite color, that's a specific one. When you say picking two colors from a color brochure, you are simply picking two colors. Next, picking first, second, and third place winners. You are picking the first, the second, and the third, which means specific. You are picking the first, second, and third in order, or specifically because the criteria says, oh, finish the first. Or let's say, for example, in a marathon, he was the first to finish the race. He was the second, he was the third. So therefore, they were held as the winners. When I say picking three winners, you are just simply picking the winner. I want her, I want him, I want that one. So you're simply picking with no criteria, with no reason why you pick them. That's just a combination. Okay, do you get me? Okay, let's go back to the activity I have let you answer before we dig on our discussion this afternoon. Examples of relating to combination, those are handshaking with other, simply handshaking, numbering in no particular order. You are just simply putting the numbers in no particular order, like 1, 5, 8, 7. So there's no order. Picking multiple objects in one draw. You are just simply picking something. Forming of a team from a number of players. Forming a particular committee from a number of players. Random people, random players. That's why it's combination. When you say permutation, ranking people. Sequencing of draws. Locking with a definite sequence. Forming of words with a given letters. So there's a specific letters here. Next is forming of numbers with a given digits. Okay, let me erase this first. Okay. Forming of numbers with given digits. So there's a given digits. All right. When you say, let's say, for example, number 3, locking with a definite sequence. Let's say, for example, your phone code. You will not be able to open your phone if you have forgotten the sequence of your codes. So therefore, you have to remember the codes, or there should be a pattern, there should be a sequence of the code you have made on your phone to lock your phone. Am I understood? All right. Do you have questions, everyone? Or am I talking too fast? Or am I not making clear? Okay. If you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Please feel free to comment your questions on the comment section so that I will be able to address that, and I will not be able to proceed to another um I will not be able to proceed if your questions or your clarifications or your problems are not addressed properly. Okay? Am I understood, everyone? All right, very good. This time, I want you to choose your pair. In a school club, there are 5 possible choices for the position of secretary and treasurer, assuming that only 2 of them is qualified for any of these positions, and how many ways can these officers be elected? And number 2, a class has 16 students. How many groups consisting of 4 students can be formed? It depends upon you on how you are going to answer that as a pair, but I will be checking and collecting that as soon as possible. Okay? So please do that silently in 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes up. Pens up, everybody. Okay. So next meeting, I will be collecting your answers, of course, with your pair ready. Write down the name of your pair on a sheet of paper and then your answer, of course. Because I will be recording this one as your activity or as a point. This is part of the grade, okay? So you have to do this one, you have to comply this one and pass this one next meeting. Okay? All right. So before we're going to end our lesson, yes, we're almost ending. Before we are going to end our lesson, I want you to answer the following questions. How are you going to calculate the different permutation and combinations of an event? Very good. Since I have discussed the formulas, you have to use that to calculate the different event, whether it's permutation or combination. However, in a real life scenario, you really need you don't need to use those formulas so that you will get the the answers. Instead, you can also use some techniques or some ways in how you can do it. But if that's difficult for you, then you can use the formula. Okay, you just have to get the pen and a paper and then solve that, then you will get the answer. That's when you have familiarized the formula, of course. As I have said, you have to keep on practicing so that you will be able to master all those things. Do you get me? Next, what is combination? Very good, Eliza. That is, it refers to the selection of sample from a certain group. That's combination. For combination, does order matters? No, very good. What about permutation? It refers to the arrangement of objects in a sequential order. Does order matters? Yes, of course, very good. How can you apply combination permutation in your daily life? Cite some concrete examples. Yes, Maria, very good. Let's say, for example, cooking. That's very correct since teacher is also already hungry. So when you say cooking, it could also be permutation at the same time combination, because when you say cooking, let's say for example baking. So there's a pattern, there's a sequence that you had to do that. However, when you say combination, you are combining all the liquid, all the solids, right? You have to mix them all together, and afterwards you have to mix them afterwards. So that's still combination and permutation at the same time. Next, what about May? Very good. What about arranging of seats? Yes, from the shortest to the tallest. Of course, the tallest should not sit in front, but on the at the back. Okay, that's correct. So since most of you have shared your thoughts, your examples, and have explained as well, I am really very happy that you are really listening to my discussion the previous week and so as now. Since you are very participative, I will be giving all of you 5 points. Is that too small? All right, all of you will get 5 points for today's participation and presentation since you are very participative and active in my class. Okay. But before we're going to end, I wanted to ask: do you still feel worried? Do you still feel anxious or angry or sleepy? No, most of you are saying no. All right, that's good to hear, and I did help you in learning mathematics, of course. So what you have learned here should not stay in the classroom or in this class, but also in your day-to-day activity. Okay, thank you so much. Since we're done with the summarizing of the lesson, I think that would be all. And have a great day ahead. Goodbye and thank you, everyone. And see you on our next meeting.